Hey guys, my name is DJ Wyatt, and I currently play football here at St. Francis. And the career I'm dream of having, and I'm going to pursue, is being a college football coach. I am so interested in becoming a coach because when I was just 5 years old, my best friend's dad, who at the time was a Notre Dame football coach, introduced me to the game of football. And one day he let me spend a whole day with him at his job, and I got to watch what it was like to be a Notre Dame football coach for a day. After that day, I knew I was going to be a college football coach after I was done playing football. Another reason why I want to be a coach is that I want to have people remember and look up to me just like how I did with Coach Alfred and give back to the community just like how he did. The employment of coaches and scouts is projected to grow 9% from 2022 to 2023, which is much faster than the average for all occupations. About 38,400 openings for coaches and scouts are projected each year on average for over the decade. Many of these openings are expected to result from the need to replace workers who transfer to different teams or exit the labor force, such as to retire. One of the most important skills to have to being a successful college football coach is to have an in-depth knowledge of the game, from fundamental skills to the advanced tactics and strategies. Another thing you need to have is to be a motivator with positive attitude and enthusiasm for the sport and the athletes. As a coach who can motivate is able to generate the desire to excel in their athletes. When motivating a player, a good coach stresses trying to reach performance goals, not outcome goals. Enjoyment and fun are cornerstones to successful coaching. Last is to be able to listen. You should be compassionate and welcome to an athlete's comments, questions, and input. An effective coach will actively seek out information from athletes and work in an environment where athletes are encouraged to present ideas and thoughts. Some top skills to have is to plan, organize, conduct practice sessions, to analyze the strengths and weaknesses of individual athletes and opposing teams, plan strategies and choose team members for each competition, direct, direct, be encouraging, and motivate athletes to prepare them for competition, call plays and make decisions about strategy and athlete substitution during competition, plan and direct physical conditioning programs that enable athletes to reach their maximum performance, instruct athletes on proper techniques, strategies, sportsmanship, and the rules of the sport, keep records of athletes and opponents' performances, and identify and recruit potential athletes. The median annual wage for coaches was about $44,890 in May of 2022. The median wage is the wage at which half the workers in occupation earn more than the amount and half earn less. The lowest 10% earned less than $24,910, and the highest 10% earned more than $93,590. The highest paid coach in college football is Nick Saban, who makes about $10.98 million a year. To find a college that you want to coach at is not hard. There are job opportunities around the whole country. The most desirable place to coach is to be coaching in a top 25 team in the nation. Other than that, the next best place to be is at one of the Power 5 schools. The Power 5 is the Atlantic Coast Conference, which is the ACC, the Big Ten Conference, the Big 12 Conference, the Pac 12 Conference, and the Southeastern Conference, which is also known as the SEC, more popularly. An effective coach leads by example. You should adhere to the same rules that you expect athletes to follow. A coach who wants respect should also show respect, and a coach who wants athletes to listen should also listen to athletes. Some challenges in this career is the gruesome hours On average, college football coaches work 75 hours a week and on average will watch 14 hours watching film and as a staff 7 hours recruiting per week. But coaches' working hours range widely from 40 hours to 115 hours per week. The best coaches are in the profession because they love it. Besides being strongly committed to the sport and success, the best coaches display a clear commitment and determination to look out for the best interest of the individual athletes. Coaching is an around the clock job, as top coaches live and breathe the art of coaching football. Some personal things that coaches have to change is to turn your personal bias off and do what is best for the team to win the game. It is also important to keep the players' spirits high and make them more than prepared to face the opponent, even if the opponents are ranked higher than them. You should make it known that they are better than them and to keep their spirits high so they can come out there and beat them. As a coach, the mindset that you should have is to lead with positivity and to praise your players for when they do well and to coach them up for when they make a mistake. If you have any doubts whatsoever as a coach and your players can see that you have doubts, then your players will have doubts as well, and that's what you do not want. The education you need to become a coach is a bachelor's degree, but people will look at your football resume and hire you from how much you know about the football and where you've previously played football. So a day in the life of a college football coach would look like being in your office at around 6:30, and you should be prepping for what the day brings. Then later in the morning, there will be a staff meeting around 8 a.m., and they are just trying to make sure that they're trying to do whatever they can to get the best players on the campus so they can play. Then at some point in the day, they'll have a script review meeting of what's going to happen during the practice day, and they go over like when they're going to come together as a team, scrimmage, and stuff like that. And then as the afternoon goes on, you go on the practice field, execute that script, and then when practice is over, you go and watch film with the coaching staff. And then you can either do it right after practice or you can come in early the next day and watch film. And depending on the time of the year, a day could end at around 6 p.m. or it could end at 11 p.m. Sometimes even later if you're game planning in season. Overall, coaches will work about 75 hours a week, which can be challenging, especially if you have a wife and kids and you have to manage, say, going to your kid's game or going to your daughter's like ballerina concert and stuff like that. So that's just some of the personal like mental challenges coaches have to deal with. Some of the least and most exciting things that a coach can see on an average day is seeing your players progress and improve as the season goes on, especially on stuff that they were getting wrong earlier in the season and they start to correct it and they get it right. Focus can be a challenge, especially for a coach, because the environment that you're in, like Coach Alfred used to tell me, is like an adult jungle. So you have to like really try and not get distracted and set as good as an example as you can for your players so they can follow you. Athletes need to adhere to a responsible set of rules both on and off the field. And these are ignored. If these are ignored, you are responsible for the athlete's discipline. Trust between athletes and a coach of paramount importance at all times and essential for successful coaching. An effective coach clearly states a code of conduct up front and adheres to it. Evidence supports that for discipline to effectively change behavior, it must be mild and prompt and consistent. So I learned a lot kind of digging deep into what it's like to be a coach. And one thing I was coming across a lot was coaches talking about how important it is to be committed to being the best coach that you can be for the team to be successful. Another big thing that I was coming across was being able to manage time with the long days and the not so long days and at home with your family. So it's very important to stay on top of keeping up with your calendar. And lastly is to strive for greatness. I mean, that's a quote from the king, the GOAT, LeBron James. So I feel like this is not only important for coaching, but for everything else in life. So that's just one quote that I wanted to add in there. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation and have a blessed day.